There we go. Connecting to cloud. All right. Well, welcome to Dreamlink, which we've in the past called Women of Wellness. But the beautiful thing is we're starting to get a few more guys showing up who are interested in wellness as well. So we may have to kind of change the name somewhere along the line, but it's still a vast majority of the ladies who are showing up with an interest in wellness. And for those of you that we may not know, my name is Cheyenne, and this is my better half.
Don. Hello, everyone.
And we're kind of crazy people. We moved a year ago, just over a year ago now, into a motorhome so that we could be able to be mobile and be able to go around the country and beyond to be able to start creating what we call community action teams. And, we have a big vision for creating a world that has more health, more wealth, and more peace for everybody. And we're not going to give up on that vision. And especially right now, when everybody has come through such a trying and traumatic time, I think right now we can either sit back and wait to see what happens, or we can decide what we want to see happen and be part of the change that many of us have been looking for a very long time. So that's kind of who we are. And we'll just, like I said, want to hear who you are and tell us specifically, especially if you're in business. We want to hear about what that business is. And, if you have a specific kind of customer you're looking for, so that we can be on the lookout for trying to help provide referrals, then that's a really important thing to tell us. Who's the customer you're looking for, and what is it related to health and wellness that you're doing? If you don't have a business, that's okay too. We love for people to come and just kind of listen in and say hi anyway. So I think we'll start on in this corner of the screen. And Miss Tanya, you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Tanya Hill, and I have a company. It's called Tanya's Wellness Corner, LLC. I'm just starting it, and I'm in Cary, North Carolina. I don't know how many people are in North Carolina, but I'm in Cary. My goal is to, and I'm also studying to be a health coach. So I'm building my business based off of my certification as a health coach, and I'm looking to help people in general to, I'm going to focus my group probably more on the older people who are maybe 50 and older, just getting healthy. It's a critical thing that we need to do, especially for us in the African American community. We need to focus on that. And COVID really showed us that a lot of us are just not healthy. So that's going to be a lot of my focus. It's probably I'm going to definitely hit maybe 40 and older.
That sounds awesome. And I'm so glad that, you're talking about that, because, yeah, you're right. We really need to work on helping the African American community and build their immunity, because there's just too many folks who really don't understand that we really do have more control over our health than what we think we do. So anyhow, thanks for being here, my dear. And looks like next up on the screen is Mr. Doc.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yep, this is Doc from Florida. I'm in Port St. John, Florida. And Cheyenne was parked down here during the holidays. We had a lot of fun. Well, I am a retired Navy hospital corpsman. That's where the Doc comes from. Did 20 years providing care to our troops. And I've been involved one way or another in healthcare since the age of 19, and I'll be 72 next month.
Wow.
So I came across something, thanks to Cheyenne, that answers a lot of questions. We have right now, because of everything we're going through with this national crisis and all, we have 40 million Americans out of work. for most Americans out of work, you're out of health insurance coverage. If you're lucky, you can get Medicare, Medicaid, some kind of state aid. But if you lose your job, you lose your health care. You lose your insurance. And we came across something called SBA Freedom Protect. It's through David Allen Capital. Imagine zero deductible, first dollar coverage, no medical underwriting, no pre-existing condition exclusions, ACA mandated coverages, and more in a nationwide preferred provider network that includes over 4,000 primary hospitals and most licensed board certified physicians. A no deductible coverage with the flexibility, affordability, and usability so that employers can now offer their employees health coverage. It's a health co-op, not a health insurance, but it meets all the needs of a health insurance. And to check it out, get your pen and paper handy. It's through David Allen Capital. Go to dachealthcare.com/102-402-292. This is the answer for small businesses to provide health coverage to their employers. If they have 2 or more employees, the business can get on board. And if you sign up as a DAC agent for free, get the training for free, get the website to promote it for free, you too can become part of this health co-op. That's the most important thing I got to say tonight. Beg your pardon?
Bless you.
Yeah.
Can you put that in the
Doc,
chat?
please put it in the chat. That's what we were going to say. Everybody should put stuff in the chat, your contact information and your webpage.
Yes, you do.
Let me see what I can do here for you.
Yeah, write that in the chat and then we'll all have it.
I'll get it in there in a second.
Thank you.
I just got to do some juggling.
All right, very good. Well, thank you, Doc. And yeah, and we encourage everybody, put your information in the chat, because at the end you can save that chat to your computer, your phone, whatever, and be able to access everybody's contact information, which is a wonderful thing. So Miss Suzanne, how about you? You want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Suzanne Cowett. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. I've been here almost 3 years now from the state of Maine, which I've lived all of my life until now. I do make custom pieces of jewelry that are per client request. My name of my business is One of a Kind Jewel. And I work a lot with real stones like amethyst or birthstone, real stones or crystals or even pearls. And I love making things for somebody specifically if they want a certain color or a certain length or style or whatever. It's all per the client request. So the only thing I can suggest is that I don't have an official website or anything, but they can reach me at 904-303-0693, and they can request whatever. And usually I request like a deposit before I start making something, because I don't want to be left out in the cold without some kind of money to order the actual stones as needed. That's it. Thank you.
Can you put your information in the chat?
Yeah,
I don't know how to do that.
fantastic.
Suzanne, look down at the bottom of your screen, and there should be a more button at the bottom of your screen. And if you click on that, the chat should come up as a choice. And then down in the bottom of the chat, you can write in all your information. Do you see that?
Well, I tried, but I don't know how to. Oh, okay. I'll just put my name and the phone number.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah, and your name, your business too. Mm-hmm.
Yes, name of business.
Well, I don't have a business yet. I'm trying to find the
Oh,
return.
you said you
Brief
call
description
your.
of what you do.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the return to put it on the other line, but it's not letting me return other than the
Just keep
send.
typing. Just
Yeah,
keep
you have to keep
typing,
typing,
honey.
yeah, because if you hit return,
keep
it'll just go
typing.
It's
ahead
one
and
of
add
a
it to the chat.
kind.
Jewel.
There you go.
Awesome.
Is that
Yeah,
okay?
I've seen
You
some
did
of
it.
Suzanne's
It's
work.
the first time communicating.
Fantastic,
Beautiful.
fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, Suzanne. Let's move on to our
I
next
also have
person.
actual jewels. Okay, thanks.
You have a what? Okay, can we move on now to Thunder? Thunder, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. I'm back here for second week, so I appreciate Cheyenne for the invite to return. You asked a great question. Is there a product or a service that people could use, and who is your targeted audience? As a applied quantum mechanic, I like to say this simply. If you have a set of car keys and a cell phone in your pocket, you are a ideal customer for us. With the 6 billion people that live on the planet currently, do you know anybody who doesn't have a set of car keys or a cell phone in their pocket? If you guys missed my debut here last week, and I'm again excited about being back. I'm a applied quantum mechanic physicist. I've worked in exotic technology reverse engineering for the last 26 years. I'm remarkably the young age of I'm the young age of 51. I was born in 1969. On Earth Day, I celebrate my Be Earth Day by being the world's greatest janitor, cleaning up the mess the baby boomers left us. No offense, anybody older than me, look, you didn't know what you were doing either. You got your information from our great-great-grandparents who still had lead in the paint in their living room and sucked on fluorine water. So I'm not blaming anyone here, but what I am is I'm a solutions manufacturing think tank, and I've recently really surrounded myself with an amazing crowd. Over the last 18 years, I've been the single far, you can name a couple names out there, but I can show you that I go farther back when it comes to shadow banning. I'm the gentleman who cripples 300 of the world's biggest industries. I've aligned myself with, as a satellite communication engineer, I've aligned myself with the greatest minds in telecom today. Recently here, and since this is being recorded, I don't even care where this goes out. Let's just take the gloves off, shall we?
Quickly.
You got about 20 seconds.
Try to keep it moving, my dear.
congratulations everybody here, because we have already beat this. I'm open for questions or answers for any difficult questions anyone may have in the future. Thank you.
Okay, is this information in there?
Yeah, and Thunder, make sure your information gets into the chat as well. I definitely would love to chat with you sometime one-on-one for sure, because I know you're a wealth of information. But moving on to our
Yes.
next, Miss
Good.
Kim.
Hello. I'm Kim. I'm from Princeton, Indiana, and I do a lot of assisting work with homeless, jail work programs, drug and alcohol recovery programs, and also some friends of mine who are having trouble with their diabetes. We've been investigating nutrition through longevity for them, and that plays a huge part in helping them with health problems. I am very interested in moving forward with more investigation for diabetes, because I have family members who are diabetic. I have friends who are diabetic, and I really do believe that longevity has a lot of answers for diabetes.
Absolutely.
Hello?
Absolutely. Super duper.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I thought, oh my goodness, I hope I didn't, I said, I hope I didn't say all that and nobody was on. I thought maybe I was
Oh, we
muted.
heard you.
We heard you. No, you're good. We
Okay.
heard you there. You all done?
Yep.
Are you through? Okay, good deal. Well, Dr. Ludy, so nice to finally meet you. Please unmute yourself and give us a short intro.
I got bug out of your head.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Dr. Ludy de Menten. I'm an autoimmune protocol health coach and genomic medicine clinician. I'm supporting people with autoimmune disease to manage their symptoms a natural way through diet and lifestyle. And I also can analyze your, oh, my connection isn't stable, it says. Can you hear me well?
I'm straining to hear you. I can hear you just barely.
Oh, sorry about that. I will maybe that. Oh, is it better?
That's a little better. Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm supporting people with autoimmune disease to manage their symptoms in a natural way. Through diet and lifestyle, and I also do genomic testing where I analyze the gene variation that can predispose to disease. By analyzing that, I can recommend intervention on food and lifestyle that are according to your genes needs and your biological needs.
Somebody's got some
yeah,
friendly
and I have a
doggies in the
PhD in, yeah. I have a PhD in biology, and I spent 10 years managing clinical trials for pharmaceutical companies. And I also have the other side of the aspect of treatment.
Okay. So you're a very holistic person. I get that. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. And yeah, I think I already saw your information in the chat box, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Clinical trials
good.
for who?
Super.
Ludy?
Yes.
I was asking clinical
Sorry.
trials for who?
For Eli Lilly and UCB. UCB, it's a Belgian pharmaceutical company. I worked in Belgium and in Raleigh, North Carolina for them. And Eli Lilly, it's also a global American company.
Gotcha. All right. Well, welcome and thank you for being with us today. Carol Ann from Canada, please tell us who you are and what you're bringing with you today.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me to come and to be part of this. My background is a school teacher. I'm retired, and so I have a passion for health after having some heart challenges in the early 2000s myself, and I find that there are just so many things that people aren't aware of what they think of what they're eating and their habits that, you know, perpetuate problem. So when I saw this company named Viseo, I was quite impressed by the results that people are getting for their bodies and their skin. Viseo is special in the way that it delivers the supplements into the body. We have 10 products in the US available and 3 skincare products. In the US, the CBD oil and cream that we have is not available in Canada, so I can't talk about it in Canada, so it's kind of nice to be able to mention it. It's liposome delivery and it's patented, so if anyone has any questions about any of the products, I can send information. We can deal with helping, assisting with pain, with energy, with Kimberly, you were mentioning diabetes. We have a product called V-Slim that actually has some very good results with people with diabetics for their sugar levels. It actually helps to monitor the blood sugar levels, which is one of the major factors, as well as aside from the supplements, we have a skincare line that's a Berkshire Hathaway company. I think we've all heard of Warren Buffett, and that's one of his companies, which is the only company that has liposome delivery skincare. So I've said the word liposome a couple times, and most people go, well, that's cool. What the heck is that? Well, liposome is a fat bubble, and every one of our cells have fat bubbles, and it basically helps to deliver the supplements and the skincare direct to where it's supposed to go into the cells. Be delighted to chat or send information to whoever wants to look at why Viseo was in the top 50 healthcare companies and when it was 2 years old. So pretty amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share my words.
Of course. Thank you for being here. And next up is Miss Angie.
Okay, I'm unmuted, right? You can hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. It's finally sunny here as it is where you are, Cheyenne. Where are you, Cheyenne?
Actually, we're in Snow Camp, North Carolina right now. South of Mebane.
North of Silas City.
Was it Tanya is in North Carolina. So my business is Green Health First. I started my business with a green tea line about 7 years ago, green tea Hawaii products. And I just want to say thank you to Doc Navy Corpsman. My son's in the Navy and is serving now on a submarine. And definitely appreciate your service. We're coming up on Memorial Day, so thank you, Doc. Also, I got into essential oil wellness about 6 years ago and have been teaching about the therapeutic properties of our plants. My whole passion is to help us learn and empower and equip people to make better choices with our foods, especially. Our herbs, spices, and fruits have centuries of data showing us how they help us therapeutically and not just nutritionally. And so I do also try to focus on the gambit of health issues. So anything from pain to digestion to, sugar levels, blood pressure, mental wellness, balancing, any of those things we can address with our Gifts of the Earth. We have several options that we just have to figure out what you're more drawn to and what works for you. And of course, combination trials are the big thing. I was a pharma rep. That's why I was asking Dr. Ludi about that. I'm very familiar with Eli Lilly and UCB. I was in that arena for about 8 years, and then really just had my eyes open to how God's given us all we need, and we just need to learn how to use it and understand what's been documented for how our plants help us. So that's me, Angie Ciroli. In the North Carolina, Raleigh area, Cary. I live in Angie of Anger, so easy to remember. We participate in health fairs when businesses are allowed to do those again. My clients are going to be anybody who's looking to do something natural and not be on medicine. And then, of course, if we have, opportunities to be able to get products to folks for detailing, I do make a custom hand cleaner that's all natural, and then, of course, custom oil blends for the different issues. Of course, right now, mental clarity, mental anxiety, stress relief is one of the key things that we're focusing on. But now that we're getting out and about more, we also have great options for insect repellent, as I know many of us are gardening now. So we can certainly help in those arenas too.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Angie.
Yes, I'll put my
Next up, Miss Marty. She finally made it in. Goodness,
This
goodness.
is Tanya. This is Tanya.
Yeah,
Can Angie write her information into chat?
Okay, yep. She's going to do it. All right, Marty.
Okay, thanks, Cheyenne, for sending me the link. Next time I will go to register before the meeting starts.
Yes.
I'm Marty Fleditsky. I'm a certified holistic health coach. I'm also a heart math certified coach. My business is Master Your Stress. And so I deal in stress management, but I really like to say that we just don't manage our stress. We could actually master it, because I think managing is just kind of dealing with it, learning to get along with it, where I believe that by using heart math techniques that we can self-regulate our emotions and connect with our heart, connect to the intuitive guidance of our hearts, and learn how to manage stress. And now I have a helicopter coming over my house, so I'm going to end my talk.
All right. Thank you, Marty. Yes, and Marty was kind enough to teach us a little bit about heart math a couple of weeks ago. We got to experience a little bit of relaxation. So definitely encourage you to check in with her. And yes, Marty, make sure you get your info into the chat for everybody.
I'm sorry I missed that last week, Marty. I was trying to get on and I hadn't RSVP'd like I thought I had either. So.
Oh, yeah. I will put in the chat next Wednesday night. I am having my We Add Heart 35-minute heart math meditation. It is at 7 o'clock next Wednesday night. You do have to register on Eventbrite to get the link. Same thing, but it will be a Zoom call and it is free. So I will put the link to the Eventbrite in case anyone would like to join me next Wednesday night.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Looks like next up is Darlene.
All right, Darlene.
Hello. Well, I will put all this in a text chat so that you don't have to catch it all. So basically, I'm Darlene Sartori, Darlene Hedrick Sartori. My maiden name's Hedrick, and I'm very proud of the name, so I do add my maiden name and my married name. I am a widow of 10 years who is now over 75, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with the next 25 years of my life. And so I I'm just carrying on with what I've been doing for the first decades. And I do things in 10-year increments, look at things, how can I create a plan to be able to do the projects. And so basically I'm working on sustaining the Ideal Network projects, and in the text chat area I put in there that you can post free ads, and I give you the address for the idealadsnetwork.com. our main address to our main office, 120 East Water Street in Princeton, Indiana, which Kim, who is online here, manages and is the property manager for that. And John Teagan or John Sterling and Teagan, which is Deborah Sterling, there are managers for the country property. So we have a pretty big project going here in Southern Indiana. I put a couple of my old websites that I haven't touched for ages, simply because, well, number one, it started out, I just didn't have time to keep them up. But now I'm learning that using them and not correcting them, because I'm trying to figure out what has gone along the way, what was sustainable, what happened, and where did these people go. So until I have a time to copy it all, and then I'll start making the corrections. But I want the errors in there so that I know and what didn't last, so I know what has a long-term track record since we started doing the internet in 1987, 88 era, or 98 rather. So basically, you know, I operate an Ideal Healthy Whole Life Foundation. I'm working with multi-generational communities using dynamic governance. We include affordable co-housing and tiny housing, transitional housing for jail to job clients. We do an addiction zapper system, and we are in the process of developing an in-clinic, a clinic type process where people in our community can come to an in-clinic because we don't have anything there. And so we're finding that more and more communities do not have an in-house treatment program for addictions of all sorts. So we're developing how can we create an affordable system for that. We have had the Art of Living Academy for Personalized Educare since the 1970s, when I discovered that the school system was failing our children. And so I began working with parents who wanted to provide a personalized education program for their children, in which I was one of the first homeschoolers in Indiana. I worked with the legal system in our Indiana area to make it legal, and I got people that were judges and lawyers actually doing this for their children. So they had a vested interest to make sure that our state stayed free for families to be able to educate their children as they saw fit. And that led us to begin in realizing that we needed special needs learning and recreation camps, and that's where we're turning our attention now, is thanks to Cheyenne and Dawn and their RVing. We've been inspired to look at how can we find properties along the routes where people travel, where they can have affordable places to pull off with their RVs, and working with different organizations that already have camps. So this has become my passion for right now, is actually the tiny house towns, expanding those, getting into the recreation area more and more, so that as people travel around the planet, there's a meeting place for them. They can connect with like-kind people in their community, because it's all about creating gardens of Eden around the planet. And as a family goes, so goes a civilization, is our motto. So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yes, Darlene has a lot on her plate. There's no doubt about it. And we've enjoyed getting to know her over the past year.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
so thank you, Darlene. John and Teagan, you got a quick introduction for us?
Well, I'm in the car and John's at home, so. This is Teagan Sterling.
Was that planned?
Otherwise, excuse me?
Is that planned?
This is Teagan Sterling, otherwise known as the Crazy Lady on a Trike. I am a personal trainer, an elite personal trainer. I do weight loss, exercise therapy, and fitness nutrition. And I ride a recumbent tricycle. I'm working with Darlene and helping her get her little town built and going from there.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And oh my goodness, it even says her name on here today. So I know who's here. Mary, please introduce yourself. Hopefully you have a microphone that works today. I remember one time you didn't.
Hear me? Hi guys.
Yeah, I can
I'm
hear
Mary
you.
Christensen. Good, perfect. So I am a coach and a massage therapist. And the coaching work that I do, since I'm still not technically allowed to work with anyone until tomorrow morning in North Carolina as a massage therapist. But in the coaching world, I have two different sessions. I have my Sacred Soul sessions, which are speaking with spirit guides and angels. So for some people, that's a little bit out there, but it's something that's really close to my heart, and I absolutely adore doing it. And the other sessions that I offer are remote healing sessions and full-on coaching sessions. And the coaching sessions, you know, we really work on whatever someone needs at that point in time. It can be family, stress, relationships, money, business. I tend to mostly work with women who are in transition of some kind. So, you know, having their first kid, going through a divorce, death happened in their family, or empty nesters. Those tend to be the people I work with in my full-on coaching business. As a massage therapist, I specialize in medical massage, so chronic aches and pains, chronic inflammatory conditions, fibromyalgia, migraines, headaches, hip pain, lower back pain, sciatica, the kind of things that people tend to have like all the time. Yeah, so I will be sure to put my information in the chat box, but that's pretty much what I do.
Awesome. And thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Well, today we are going to see what we can do to share our screen, and we're going to share with you guys just a little bit more of the big vision that we're working with, because and I think it's especially appropriate for this timing right now here in North Carolina, because like Mary just alluded to, you know, we're finally starting to see some of the restrictions lift here, and hopefully there will be more people able to actually get to see some of their holistic professionals again. I know my chiropractor stayed open during all of this, and I was so grateful for that. But, you know, we have just come through a period of time that it's no secret to any of you that more people have gone through trauma, whether it's physical, mental, or spiritual, does not matter. And for many people, it's probably a little of all three. And we just know that right now, people need what everybody on this meeting has, more than they've probably ever needed you and us before. Don and I actually are trained in a protocol called emotional DNA trauma release, and it requires to be able to be hands-on with somebody. You know, so we've been kind of waiting on things as well, because we know that we can make a difference in terms of helping people to feel less anxiety and less stress as well. And what I love about the group that's assembled here is, even though it may appear there's some overlap in terms of products or overlap in terms of services, you know, everybody's looking for something slightly different. Everybody relates to different people. Everybody's body responds differently to different things. So that's why I've been really working hard to try to bring this group together to be multi-dimensional. And it's okay if there's some overlap, because, you know, we want people to have choices, and that's a big component of this. So hopefully my computer will continue to cooperate and allow me to share my screen. And we'll just try to share with you guys a little bit. And Carol Ann saw some of this yesterday, but this one's a little bit different just because it's focused on this team. And yes, we have multiple teams that we're working on pulling together right now. So hopefully you guys can see the screen. Can somebody give me a a shout out, because I can't even see everybody's picture right now. So someone give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
we're seeing it.
Alrighty, perfect. Thank you. That helps. So just so you know, our community development division of our company is called WeCare Partnerships Network. And we started this more or less about 10 years ago, not too long after we came through some major challenges, which we will share with you in a little bit more detail in just a moment. So, that's what we're doing right now, is building what we're calling community action teams, and health and wellness is one of those required teams. And really what WeCare Partnerships Network is designed to be a marketing strategy for businesses that care about the community. Big companies can care about the community really easily. Most of them, they can stroke big checks to some 501c3, et cetera, et cetera. Little companies can't do as much of that. But what we've been working on, because we saw the need, is we've been working on ways to bring the small businesses into the community and find ways to help small businesses build their businesses at the same time that they're helping in the community. So that's really kind of the goal of WeCare Partnerships. So, and hopefully it's gonna let me change to the next page. Yeah, exactly. I am. Can't you tell? Let's see. Is that, there we go. Okay, I was able to do it one way, if not another. So, we like to share with people what led us to create WeCare Partnerships. And, Don and I have been working together in various forms and fashions for a very long time. He had a very successful copier business that he ran out of our home for 15 years. He was providing sales and service on copying machines, and he did a wonderful job of being able to meet the needs of our family, but also built the business in such a way that it gave him freedom to spend time with our sons, which to me was the greatest gift that he ever gave to me, given that my dad was not able to be home with us most of the time when I was growing up. But then a little over 10 years ago, Don started to have some real problems with joints, not feeling very well, had a very difficult time being able to push around big things like copying machines. And we went looking for ways to sell his business, and we tried to do it in kind of a creative way, because we really recognized the value of residual income. And so we tried to set up a scenario where a group that bought the business was going to provide us with residual income for a while we figured out our next phase of life and what it was we wanted to do. But 18 months later, the people who bought the company from us ended up running it into the ground. We lost our income. And as you can see from the third little picture here, we ended up going through foreclosure. And if it hadn't been for our youngest son, we would have been possibly looking for a bridge to put our name on or something. I know it was not a pleasant situation, but it was quite a learning experience, to say the least. And the thing was that, and hopefully this will change again. Yes. So our significant challenges led to significant learning that left us with the desire to start to develop a plan for creating new solutions. And as part of our journey, we decided that, we needed to heal after that. That was trauma. We needed to heal. And we decided that one of the best ways that we could heal ourselves was to take the entrepreneurial knowledge that we had acquired through his business and try to pay it forward, typically to people who hadn't had this kind of knowledge and training before. So over the last 10 years, we've been in homeless shelters. We have been in the local prisons and jails. We have been working with at-risk youth who were trying to be recruited by local gangs. And our whole thing was teaching entrepreneurial skills. Because when we went through the financial crash, we came face to face with systems that frustrated the SOX office, because we could see very plainly how those systems were not promoting helping people out of them. The systems tend to keep people trapped in them instead of helping them to get out. And so we figured that the best thing we could do with our bank of knowledge of both having been through some very bad times as well as some very good times was to pay that forward to some folks and teach people, the ones who are ready, willing, and able, to be able to start to teach them about entrepreneurship. And you can see we've worked with some kids that really appreciated us. We had a great time working with them. And every kids program we've done, and adults, whatever money they made in the program, they got to take home. So we're about apprenticeships and hands-on learning. It's a hugely important part. The plan's basic goal, it is pretty lofty and idealistic, but if somebody doesn't hold a big vision for the future, who's going to do it? So our whole thing is that WeCare Partnerships Network was developed to help create more health, more wealth, and more peace for people at all levels of society. And so you can see this diagram. What we're working on building right now is 4 different types of special interest teams in multiple locations, and we want to be able to create cross-functional communities. And we're talking communities of small businesses, because we know small businesses have been hit hard by this epidemic. And we know that by bringing them together to collaborate and to create stronger, more diverse solutions, that we have a better chance of helping more of them to really be able to not just survive this time, but be able to thrive in it. And that's a huge part of our passion as well. So right now we're building community action teams. Health and wellness is one of 4. And the 4 is obviously health and wellness, and we include creativity in that as well, because if people are not being creative, then we don't feel that they're having wellness of the spirit. We believe that we were made in the image and likeness of the Creator, and everybody be creating, and not we're missing a huge part of what we were designed to do. And then the second team that we're looking to build, which we haven't really started yet, but I've got some ideas around it, is a prosperity/wealth building team. Third team, again, hasn't really taken off yet, but I've got some ideas around that, is a peace and justice team. And then we have what we call our basic needs team on alternate Fridays, meets on this very same Zoom. So we're doing alternate Fridays, where one Friday is health and wellness, one is basic needs, and we're focusing a lot on some of the things like Darlene's team is doing to try to help to end homelessness with a full-scale solution in that arena. Because, you know, small businesses can build their income while making a difference in the community. We have proven that, we know it's true, and we're just trying to get this word out to more people and find the people who are interested in kind of this both and approach to being a small business owner out here. And we've proven this is possible by offering the following types of marketing services to our, and I'm going to call them unofficial WeCare members, because we have quite a few people we've been working with that don't even know considered WeCare members, but it's okay because they've been instrumental in helping us in so many ways. So we have done business expos that raise money for nonprofits while helping businesses develop new clients. We have done scenarios with unique or exclusive advertising opportunities through our multiple advertising alliance partners. We can usually find ways to provide low-cost advertising to people by bringing them together in some unique situations. Right now, we're partnered with a gal in St. Louis who's doing an online comedy competition. And for as little as $50, you can advertise your business in her live streams as part of that comedy competition, which is being used to raise funds so that we can have money to be able to put into these homeless projects that many of us are doing in many places across the country. Our members get to be a featured guest on our Live Your Song podcast. We are seen in quite a number of interesting places with that right now. And then we do a lot to really help to create direct connections to and joint venture opportunities with our vast nationwide network. We are connected nationally through a number of organizations that we either are affiliated with or have been affiliated with, and that's why you see right here on this meetup right now today that there's a lot of people from different places. So we got people from Florida, we've got people in North Carolina, we've got somebody in Canada, and we've got Indiana, and oftentimes we do have you know, Missouri and Virginia and lots of other places like that as well. So, and then this is the next phase of what we're working on, is launching collaborative solution events that feature our WeCare partners. So this is, you know, this is the next iteration of this evolving vision that has been going on for 10 years. And then another interesting piece for people who become part of WeCare is that they're going to have access to apprentices to help build your business. Because that's what we're doing in some of these wealth challenge communities, is we are creating apprenticeship programs for people who are wanting to learn sales and marketing and how to create their own income, and they need small businesses to work with to help in those arenas. So all of these are part of what we're doing. And if you're not muted, there's somebody with some noise in the background. Please do consider muting yourself so that it's not picked up on the recording right now. So let's see, next slide. So this is a huge part of what WeCare Partnerships has been developing for a number of years now. We do our marketing through strategic alliances, oftentimes with nonprofits and churches, through our advertising alliance partners. And we've also in the past worked with a lot of recruiters and other groups who are serving unemployed communities. We ended up with a really good strategic alliance a couple of years back with a gentleman who's a financial planner who was doing every Friday morning. He had this big networking function of unemployed people who would come to his office to learn about job leads. And basically he allowed me to set up a class through Wake Tech, because I am an instructor for them, allowed me to set up a class in his office and provide that service to these people who showed up every Friday morning. So that's what I'm talking about with strategic alliances. Strategic alliances can make it a whole lot easier to find your prospects. Because the tough part about Wake Tech and most of the community colleges is if you're not doing your own marketing and finding your own students, your classes probably won't run. So just understand that that's been a huge part of our strategy over the last 10 years, is just building those relationships so that people can have an easier time finding prospects. It's a huge piece for any entrepreneur, and you all know that. So right now, this was kind of a vision that came to me a few weeks ago, and when I get the visions, I understand that it's probably just a framework to be able to work with, because the visions always involve a team. So that's why we're trying to build teams and bring people together to brainstorm so that we can put together a program that's going to create lots of win-win situations. So the basic structure that was kind of in the vision that I received was, you know, bring together a community action team for health and wellness, make sure that it's loaded with lots of complementary modalities, because everybody knows about what their insurance will cover. Very few people know about what it won't. And, you know, the idea was to try to find 4 different locations somewhere across the triangle. I've had somebody encouraging me more into the Burlington and Greensboro area as well. And I'm thinking that's why we ended up at this campground just south of Burlington. But, you know, 4 locations with either churches or possibly nonprofits who can help bring people out, that we don't have to go chasing around looking for people. And, you know, possibly 4 locations, 1 night a week at each, and 8 weeks total. Again, that's what came to me, but it's not cast in concrete. It's for a team to come together and to brainstorm around this basic framework and figure out how can we make this work for everybody, to be able to reach more people, to learn how to take more control over their own health and wellness. Because my goodness, the media is already splashing it all over the place that come fall, we could have another wave of this. Now's the time to be trying to help people understand how they can take more control of their health. So the basic goal of what we're envisioning is providing services and education, including people who do not normally have access, largely because these services or products are not covered by insurance. Find ways to compensate the service providers, and find ways for our strategic alliance partners to benefit as well. So, you know, this is, again, we're into thinking win, 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 win. We want a whole lot of people to win in this. And, you know, like Tanya made mention of earlier, unfortunately, there's way too many people in the African American community who know nothing about these alternative therapies, and yet they tend to be much more susceptible to so many diseases and so many of the illnesses that come through. And I truly believe it's largely because they don't understand the power they have to build their immune system. So, you know, just to give you another little snapshot here, just so you understand, WeCare Partnerships is not a nonprofit. It is a social enterprise, which basically means it's a for-profit business with a social mission. Actually, WeCare Partnerships is actually a division of our larger corporation called Triangle Solutions Alliance, which also gets into helping to promote independent consultants to go and find projects in corporate America. And we may need to fire that one back up a little more actively again in the near future. That one's been a little bit on the back burner recently. But anyway, so social enterprise, we developed this membership organization to help fund our work. Because guess what? Yes, we're making payments on this RV. Yes, it only gets 8 or 9 miles per gallon. And if we want to keep going across the country and replicating what we're creating here in North Carolina, we got to have the gas money to do it. We got to keep food in the refrigerator, you know, all those crazy things. And remember, it was only 10 years ago we went through a major financial crash. So no, we're not living off from 401ks. So, you know, this is part of our business, and you know, we're building the prototypes wherever we can. I think Darlene's got a heck of a prototype started out there in terms of how do we tackle the homelessness issue. And, you know, we hope to make it out there this summer, spend some time with her and continue helping her. But at the same time, we want to get this health and wellness thing off the ground here in North Carolina. And I almost feel like it's almost because it's so important, because we have so much of a stronghold of the pharmaceutical industry here. And, you know, I'm not saying pharmaceuticals can't do some good, but I believe there needs to be balance. And unfortunately, you know, most of the non-traditional therapies and such out here, the complementary modalities, the complementary products, you know, it's like somebody's always trying to hush us. And I'm tired of being hushed. And I'm pretty sure most of you are too. So, you know, that's the whole thing, is that by offering WeCare as a membership organization, it helps us to continue our work as project managers and being kind of a think tank for all of this, and for creating the structure that we're hoping can be replicated alongside things like the Ideal network that Darlene is creating. So, you know, we make sure that business owners from all levels of society can join us, because we have innovative options for doing it. So, you know, we can, and we know what we're doing is probably worth a whole lot more than this, but in so many ways, our desire, it's kind of like the Walmart philosophy, you know, keep the prices low and just try to bring in lots of people, because we want lots of people creating these teams, not just in North Carolina, but across the country. So we've set it up so that people can pay $17 a month, $39 a quarter, or $149 a year membership fee. and be able to that's the membership fee if somebody just wants to pay cash and get it done with. But we also have a North Carolina barter organization, which is actually a nonprofit. It costs nothing for people to join upliftnow.org, and they can actually earn some barter dollars, or trade tokens as they call them, just by setting up your web page and things of that nature. If you refer people, they're happy to give you more trade tokens for that. So for some very simple activities, you can get some trade tokens, and we are members of upliftnow.org. So people could pay those same $17.39 or $149 membership fees through barter tokens. They just need to sign up with upliftnow.org, and they are on the web. It can be done anywhere. It's not just to the local North Carolina market. And then, for our folks who are maybe coming through some really troubled times, where maybe they've experienced homelessness, or they've been through the justice system or whatever, if all they can do is pay a couple of bucks as a donation to WeCare to be able to get their business listed and get involved in our community action team, that's fine. I am totally cool with that. And we have a PayPal Me link that people can use to do that. And then we get to the real creative side of things, where, because there are some people who have gotten to a place of going, well, I'm not sure what marketing's working and what marketing and what advertising is even working anymore. So I don't know if I want to put out any money towards marketing and advertising. And I understand, because the more challenges we go through and the more fear that people sit in, the harder it is to get our marketing messages out there, the harder it is to get anybody to listen to them. And so it's like, okay, so we don't know sometimes what's being heard and what isn't. So if somebody's just willing to swap where they shop and purchase some of the products we've got, because we have over 10,000 products, it's probably closer to 20,000 now, that we can offer for sale, and just say, look, if you're blessing us by purchasing some kind of product from us, then you are automatically a WeCare Partnership member, and and we thank you for that. Because so many people are buying so many things online anyway, you can keep making Amazon rich, or you could consider swapping some of those products into the WeCare Partnership arena and help to fund what we're doing. So, and then of course, the last thing, which is truly creative, and some people like this idea and some people don't, but we talk about creating joint venture fundraising teams. And, there's a lot of people on here who are already involved in some kind of a direct sales program, and we're involved in several. And we do that because we have to have the residual income to keep us on the road and keep us doing what we're doing. It's just not even an option. And quite honestly, our income was not that much affected over the last couple of months because of that residual income. And so we invite other people to look at, gee, could you create another income stream just by being a referral source to us and joining in as a joint venture partner into one of our programs? Because, the thing is, we all have got to be developing multiple streams of income these days. It's just a requirement because we don't know where the economy's going. One thing could be real popular one day, and it ends up not being so popular the next, and we just don't know. So insulating ourselves by building multiple streams of income and being able to help us raise funds that allows us to continue to be these marketing people for small businesses, because that's where we really want to be, it's just another option. Help us raise funds, we'll help you build another income stream. And at the same time, I invite everybody who's here to get to know these different direct sales programs that are being represented, because I have found that that's where some of the most magnificent products in the world are. And yet, it's another one of those things that gets slammed all the time out here. And I'm kind of tired of it, because again, he's back on his feet. We would not have ever moved into this RV. We would not have ever gotten on the road if it hadn't been for one of the direct sales companies that we work with. And, you know, those products are what got him back on his feet, got both of us out of depression and back on the road to being able to build what we like to call paradise communities. So that's a big piece of what we are all about. So just so you get an idea, options for swap where your shop or joint venture fundraising, as we like to call it, include things like legal assistance, identity theft protection. You heard Doc talk about the healthcare co-op. Right now, because Doc is part of our team, we're sending people to him who are interested in learning about that. Business loans, credit card processing, internet marketing systems, weight loss, nutrition, makeup, jewelry, and other accessories, non-toxic cleaning, electromagnetic frequency protection, kind of like what Thunder's talking about, and pet nutrition. These are all just examples of some of the different products that we're offering where somebody could choose to swap where they shop. And that just waives all your fees for being part of the WeCare Partnership Network, as long as you're continuing to shop with us. So that's kind of the big picture of what we've got going. And, you know, my question is, what questions do you guys have about this? And, you know, we're just looking to see who's interested in really joining the team and really getting engaged in helping to lift up our communities that are so hurting right now. We call ourselves the super connectors that are creating super puzzles for health, wealth, and peace for all. And that's what this is all about. So I'm going to try to stop the share here if I can and go back to being able to see people, although the sun is starting to blind us, so it's hard to see anybody. So please, if anybody's got questions, comments, this is our first time of even doing this presentation in this particular format. And if anybody's even got some feedback for us, we're big boys and girls. We can deal with it, whether you liked it or not.
Well, I think you did an absolutely great job. Very well done. I like your slides. They were very well put together. Very creative.
That we are.
We try.
Thank you. Simplify, and that's what it's all about, is making it simple enough so anybody can do it. It's like falling off the log easy, and I don't know if you've ever tried to stay on a log in a river. It's pretty easy to fall off of it.
Exactly. Anybody else? Thoughts, questions?
So you said, Shayan, there's going to be 4 locations in North Carolina. Is that right?
Well, that was kind of the vision that came to me, was to have 4 locations. And I was really thinking, you know, in the triangle somewhere, but based on Candy Schumann's recommendation, she says she's getting a lot of requests for complimentary services out of the Burlington, Greensboro area. So I'm open wherever we can. I'm all about, let's cast the net widely and see where people say yes and go there.
My mentor is out in Graham, Burlington area. So, you know, I know there is, you know, certainly lots of audience for health and wellness in that area.
Cool.
So I, you know, participate in a lot of health fairs when they get back up on, you know, on working status in that area as well, all of the triad.
Wow. So I'm glad to hear that, because, you know, that's good to know. It's been extremely difficult, at least for us, to really be able to get the ball rolling in the triangle, though I still believe it's needed there as much as anywhere, and maybe even more so in some cases.
So how far are you from Virginia?
Right now to the border of
Vermont. I'm saying, no, not Virginia. I'm sorry, Vermont. We were talking about Vermont last night.
Oh, good Lord. We're 16 hours from Vermont.
Yeah. North Carolina to Vermont. Yeah.
I was they were saying how much progress was being made in the Vermont, which that's a small area. But, you know, that's where to look at who's doing what that's being extremely successful in their communities. And so I was just curious if anybody knew anybody in Vermont to know what they're actually saying is true.
My family knows nothing about those kinds of things. They are so far removed from it. That's why I haven't bothered going back to Vermont.
Okay. So you were the one one of them that was talking about Vermont the other day.
That's where I was born and raised.
That's what I thought, yeah. So that's like, okay, who else should we study besides what's going on in Colorado? You know, because that's, they have not had any problems meeting the needs of this situation out there. We need states that are they're going to stand up to and help the small businesses, you know, not let the small businesses fail. And that's I must say, our governor in Indiana, you know, we're even thinking about taking legal action against him because he's not protecting the small businesses. And that's wrong. They should not be hurting the small businesses. We're the backbone.
We are the backbone, but that's what suffered drastically in the last 2 months is the small business.
That's what I'm saying. We need to rally around the small businesses and do what we can to protect them, not these big corporations and etc. Right, you know, this is they can weather some of this stuff, but small businesses live on from paycheck to paycheck or from month to month.
Yes.
And you know, so I really applaud everything that you're doing with it, because this is really about protecting the small businesses, and that's what Doc's working with and etc. Because it's the family owned and operated businesses that made America great. And if we don't protect them and rally to them in every way we can, you know, go shop there first. Check and see if a small business in your community's got it. You know, I'm going to tell you, when Walmart started, it was all about buying local and putting it in their stores. That was his vision.
Sam's.
Yep.
That was Sam's vision, and he wasn't even cold in the grave before they changed the dynamic. But that's, you know, his thing was not to move into a community and force the small businesses out, but rather to give the small businesses a place to market their products and help them to be successful.
Absolutely.
I'd like to pick that vision up more and more.
For sure, for sure. And, you know, that's the whole thing. I mean, anytime you put together a small business expo, you know, you're creating kind of a Walmart-like environment. You're just bringing a lot of small businesses together in one place so that people can have a variety of things to be able to look at and learn about and all that good stuff. So I noticed somebody asked in the chat, and I don't know if Suzanne Ballantyne is still here. Apparently she was. But she asked if what we're doing is like a B Corp. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the concept of a B Corp, but that stands for Benefit Corporation. And North Carolina has not seen fit to include B Corps as an official status under their corporate formations here in North Carolina. But it is possible for a company to be certified by an outside organization as a B Corp. And basically a B Corp has a triple bottom line. Instead of it just being about profit, it's about people, profit, and planet. So that's what is the difference between a B Corp or a social enterprise versus a traditional for-profit business. And no, we are not certified as a B Corp. It costs quite a bit of money to certify as a B Corp. I'd rather take that money and be putting it into a fund to be able to pay service providers like you to be able to provide holistic services for people who can't normally afford them.
I'd like to mention, being the one Canadian on the call here, that so many of the issues that I hear, you know, voiced by each one of you is the same in Canada. I'm from Calgary, which is oil and gas, you know, city, and in the last few years we've lost over 6,000 small businesses. Wow. You know, in because they just can't handle it. There's not the support, and exactly what you're saying. We're all human beings, and we all have bodies, and we all have brains.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we don't quite use them the same way, you know, in
Community made.
but
That's a fact. That's
yeah,
a fact.
you know, and as you're talking about the different states here in Canada, it's the different provinces, which all have different rules and regulations, and it's all kind of crazy. But I just want to voice that up, because we're all in this together, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to also emphasize, you know, if we can put together some kind of a program that's helping people here in North Carolina, that doesn't mean there can't still be virtual components to the program where people from outside the state or the country could still be engaged and involved in some way. So that, you know, if we haven't learned anything over the last 2 months, we have pretty well learned that it's very possible to do more virtually than what we thought we could do. So, you know, just keep that in mind as well, because, you know, we want to bring a lot of people in under this umbrella all over the place virtually at first. And then as we get kind of a groundswell of people in a specific location, then we want to make sure that that location is taking live events out here for folks to be able to do. So that's kind of the vision of it. Anybody else have any other questions, comments? What I'd like to do with this meetup going forward is, you know, everybody's welcome to the meetup, but I'd love to be able to focus more on folks who see the value of what we're doing and really want to engage with us. Like I said, you know, we have no problem with people making small donations to WeCare every once in a while as a way to be engaged with us. I don't care as long as somehow people are helping to support this vision, because I think this vision is extremely important right now. We kind of on the side call it creating heaven on earth, and you know, we can't do that unless we are creating more health, wealth, and peace for everybody, not just the people who can afford it. So that's what we've learned from working with some of these really challenged communities, is that a lot of them just want a chance to be able to figure out how to access some of the same things that other people are accessing. And that feels like the God-given mission that we have right now. So, you know, everybody's welcome. Angie, if you're interested 2 weeks from today in doing a presentation on your products, we'd be delighted to have you do that, because originally we thought you might do it today, but things kind of got shifted around. Yeah. And I would just say, you know, I really would love to know if you'd put something in the chat, if you're interested in seriously being part of this vision. I'd love to know that. Just tell me you're interested in the chat. And some of you are kind of sort of there because you're already part of our teams and such, and that's a beautiful thing. But I want these meetings also to be partially about networking and referring to each other, but I'm also going to start to implement through these teams a time for brainstorming for people who really want to make this vision happen. And there may be even another day of the week somewhere along the line that we need to put together some brainstorming sessions for people who really want to become part of the community action team. Because like I said, I was given a framework, but I don't claim to have all the answers. He don't claim to have all the answers. We want your genius brains together in a think tank, creating this vision and creating these community action teams to go out here and make a difference, maybe like has never been made before. So we want that. You know, I love Albert Einstein's quote, everybody's a genius, but if you try to force a fish to climb a tree, it'll spend its whole life thinking that it's a failure. And so we like finding fishes who are swimming, and we think if they swim in a school together, that we're probably going to get a lot more boom impact out here. And that's what we're all about. So that's all we have for today. Anybody have any closing thoughts, questions, or comments?
I'd like to add just one quickie that, you know, that with the situation the way it is today, with technology the way it is today, you know, what they're asking everybody to do is stay home, do as much from home as possible. Cheyenne can tell you, That's been life as normal for me for the last decade. That's the way I've been doing it. That's the way I've been growing my businesses. I have, I think, 6 businesses right now. I lose track. I come and go in different ones. My favorite one, via the internet, I have customers in 14 countries. What the hell is holding up everybody else? Get on there, get active. It's what you do, and focus on the positive. My dad used to always say, there are going to be storms in life. This one's a hurricane. Don't worry about the wind. Don't worry about the rain. Look for the rainbow. Without the storms, there is no rainbow.
It. And I don't see a rainbow out here today, but darn, it's nice out here today after 3 days of rain.
Yeah. That's the beauty of the whole thing. Is, you know, I have people accuse me of being too positive, too organized, too this, too that. You know, that's part of the military training. Yeah, you do what needs to be done, think about it later.
There you go. Well, and I do encourage everybody, make sure you can find the 3 little dots down at the bottom of the chat in the bottom right-hand corner, and make sure you save the chat so that you've got the ability to be back in touch with people. And I encourage you, this shouldn't be just about showing up here every other week. This should definitely be about reaching out to each other, learning more about each other's businesses, doing some one-on-one phone conversations or Zoom. I've got two or 3 Zooms scheduled next week with people in Canada. So I'm learning and meeting more and more people in Canada. It's amazing. There's so many people there who think very much like we do. And we're just excited and blessed to be making those connections. So please reach out to each other, learn more about each other. If you find somebody you can refer to somebody else who's been here, please do that, because that's how we help each other grow our businesses, and that's how we save our small business community. We've got to be focused on doing that at this point in time. So everybody good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. And I look forward to connecting with you guys some more over the next few days, few weeks, and beyond. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
A great and blessed week.
All right. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Nice to see you all.